Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwartner, and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today, we have the great pleasure and honor to speak with Anthony Iannarino.
Gee, how are you?
I am so impressed. You have 5 books lined up. The red one is The Only Sales Guide You Ever Need. And then you wrote 4 more. And now you capped it off with a green book, Leading Growth. It's all about accelerating revenue. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about leading growth. What got you to write about that?
If you write 4 books on the modern sales approach and you speak to companies and you do some training and you help people, the way that you get results is through leadership. And at some point you realize I can help them as much as I want, but if I don't get to the managers and I don't help them understand what they need to do to get behavioral changes, then it's all for nothing. But when people don't want to make people do something different, then they're going to have the same results over and over and over again. So what you see is a company that the salesperson will say something like, I've been selling for 20 years. Yeah, you've had the same year 20 times. That's
Right.
not the same thing as having different, periods where you're doing different things. If you're a person who's been in sales and now you're in a leadership role, you were probably taught Sandler, solution selling, spin selling, Miller Hyman. Like you probably are familiar with all those things. And all of those were great approaches in their day, but it's not that day anymore. And what happens now is that buyers are uncertain. They're uncertain about the future. And just think about what we've been through over the last couple of years. A pandemic, supply chain issues, runaway inflation, a war in Europe, and it just continues. So every day, there's something else that gets added into this list of all of the challenges that we have. So you start to see this, and people, when they are uncertain, they feel like it's safest to do nothing. So this book is my way of helping people step forward and say, even though it's uncertain, the one thing that is certain is that your sales force has to become more effective, and they need a modern approach to do that.
There's no bad economy, only inadequate approaches to success.
That's exactly right. A lot of people, I've won some of the largest accounts I've ever won in recessions.
So let's pick up the book and go to chapter 3. How should we communicate with customers now compared to 3 years ago?
One of the things that senior sales leaders definitely do, and sales managers sort of follow this, is they under communicate. And they don't keep saying the same thing over and over again. Good leadership is repeating yourself until people believe what you're saying is true. So if you say something once like, hey, you guys should really do some more prospecting, you will not get one more meeting from having said that. People are going to go like, yeah, I remember when he said last week that we needed to close more deals faster. Change the story, change the data, change the action, but don't change the message. Like the message has to stay true for everyone until everybody believes it's true.
So when you go to your book and go to your table of content, which chapter was the most difficult for you to write?
People. There's so much that you could do when you're just talking about how to hire the right people, how to develop those people, how to support and coach those people. So that one was harder because I could write 650,000 words about people, and that would be 10 books. But so you can't do it. So you end up having to determine, like, what do I need to give them in this book, knowing that I have a chance to write other books, right? So I'll write the coaching book at some point.
Well, I want to add for the audience, you have a sales force that has a very, very high quota. Each one of your salespeople, they're producing in excess of $5 or $6 million, which is huge in comparison to other companies in your industry. How do you get people to consistently perform on a high level?
The very first thing that you have to do is you have to hire people that have a couple things that are common competencies that you would think would help somebody be successful. The first one is self-discipline. I never hire anybody who thinks that I'm going to motivate them. I'm not interested in motivating you. The second part of that for me is their mindset. So I want somebody who has a great mindset. So they're optimistic, they're positive. And then the last thing is I want them to already be hungry. If they're hungry, they're going to pursue their goals because that's who they are intrinsically. They're intrinsically motivated, and they don't need me to say, Gerhard, it would be great if you would do a little bit of your work today. That would be helpful for me. I'm never going to do that. I want to know what all your goals are,
Right.
because that's how I am going to motivate you, is I'm going to have a conversation about how you're doing on your goals. Like, not the ones that I have for you, but the things that you want, because they do it for their reasons, not our reasons, right?